Hello, Henry. Welcome back to Mustang News. I'm Caroline.
And I'm Andres, and in this week's episode, we are going to meet a teacher,
Learn about the controversy about our school's name,
get a cheer update,
and we're going to finish up the episode with a story about our students at the Capitol,
and our student council food drive,
and our weekly weather.
I'm Mr. Sims. I teach 8th grade U.S. history and American War and 7th grade athletics.
And how long have you been working here at O. Henry?
This is my 7th year at O. Henry, and before that I used to teach in Virginia. I taught 4 years of high school.
And what are some tips that you would give to students upcoming?
Tip I always give to students is find a teacher that you really relate to and that can go to with any problems. And it doesn't have to be a counselor, but just a teacher that you can kind of relate to and go to and that can help you out. It really does make a difference when you have somebody who's looking out for you.
All right, thank you.
We love Mr. Sims.
As you can see, people love Mr. Sims.
Let's check in on our cheer team on their path to nationals.
How did you finish out in Houston?
We got third place.
Yeah, and our score
77.5.
77.5? Yeah, 77.5.
How did you finish out in Dallas?
In Dallas, we got fourth place with a score is 85.2.
Yeah.
What was different in Dallas than Houston?
Dallas was farther.
Yeah, also, we were missing 1 or 2 girls in Dallas, and that's why we got a better score in Houston, I think.
What are you most excited about for nationals?
Mainly just to hang out with the people that who you're really close with and get to go to Disney World.
I'm excited for the opportunity to just be there and to compete and just to go to Disney World with everyone.
What do you need to work on as a team for nationals?
Sharpening our stunts and movements.
Yeah, so just making sure that we're all really sharp and not just flailing our arms around whenever we're supposed to be doing different movements.
Last week, there was a rally for kindness at the Capitol.
Some of our students went to stand up for what they believe in.
Some of our very own Mustangs were at an anti-Semitism protest this weekend. Let's interview some students and Ms. Milersky who went to the protest to get a better understanding.
Why did you go to the protest?
I went to the protest just to be in support of the Jewish community and hopefully see some students that I had invited. I invited all of GSA, which is 70 plus kids strong, so I was just hoping that people would be out joining as well.
Do you think the graffiti at Anderson was one of the triggers of the organization of the protest?
I don't think the graffiti at Anderson High was fully the main cause for the rally. There had been at least 4 incidences that I know of anti-Semitic happenings around Austin, including a fire in a synagogue. A group from Florida came to Austin and San Antonio to just spread hate with posters on the highway that were racist, anti-Semitic, homophobic, and then the incident at Anderson High. So all of it together, just the community wanted to stand strong.
Why did you go to the kindness rally?
Because my teacher told me that it would be something fun to do, so I went and I really enjoyed it. It was cool. It was a nice experience.
Some of our O. Henry 8th graders and alumni were featured in a CBS News article. Let's see them now.
Personally, when I saw that, it was not only hurtful, but it was also not as shocking as you might think.
Ford McCracken is one of the many students impacted by the hurtful words and anti-Semitic symbols.
Because when you see swastikas put on your school's property, you don't feel safe at school.
But they came together to turn a negative into a positive. Younger students taking note.
Being our age, I guess it's one of the best things we can do, I guess, at our age, and with the amount of actual power we have to do things.
We need to educate our generation more so that we can be better prepared for the future.
Why did you go to the protest on Sunday?
Well, I'm Jewish, so I just thought it would be a good way to just support the community, and I don't know, I like going to those things just because it makes me feel good.
And I'm not Jewish personally, but I know a lot of Jewish people and other minorities, and I just think it's really good to be able to share my perspective and support the community and bring everyone together.
These protests help a lot, and they boost awareness about topics that we as a generation of young people need to learn about. Come and join us next time. Go Mustangs.
Student council ran a food drive fundraiser.
Let's see how we did.
Hi, I am Mrs. Bass Patterson. I teach comics and graphic novels, ELA, and I am the student council sponsor.
How much has been raised for the food drive?
We have, with our online donations and from the ACEs, we've raised $1,500.
How much were you expecting to raise?
Our goal was $800.
How many meals will that buy?
That will buy over 6,000 meals. For every dollar we raise, they were able to buy 4 meals. So we're looking at donating over 6,000 meals from O. Henry.
Hi, I'm Everson Smith for the Student Council as Student Council President, and I'd like to announce that after the Thanksgiving break, we're going to announce the Winter Wonderland door decorating contest, for which there will be a prize per grade for whoever does the best at decorating their door. And then there's also a rumor that next semester there might be a dance in the spring.
Thank you for your time.
There's controversy around many schools' names.
Our Henry is not exempt.
Our school, O. Henry, is named after a renowned writer, William Sidney Porter, whose pen name was O. Henry. Some of his most known pieces include The Gift of Maggie, The Duplicity of Hargraves, and The Ransom of the Red Chief. Miss Boltz is the head of our campus advisory committee. She can give us some great information about how the name change request came to be.
How does the campus advisory committee feel about the name change?
Well, the campus advisory committee is interested in finding out more about the question that was asked. We had a member of the Austin community send us a note last May concerned about a specific poem that O. Henry had written. And we are now in the process right now of searching out all the works that O. Henry has written and learning how to tell our story, really finding out who O. Henry was. So we don't have an opinion yet, but we are certainly interested in everyone's input.
Our principal, Miss Willott, knows a lot about the request, process, and cost of the name change.
When did the controversy come to attention?
So last year in May at our Campus Advisory Council, we had a community member write us a letter. And so we read that letter, and we just at that time heard about the first time that a community member wanted us to consider changing the name.
What is the process of changing the school name?
It's actually a lot more complicated to change the name of a school than I thought. So the first part is that we actually have to send out a survey to bring the information to light if we want to change the name. And then what we do is I'm going to actually look at some of my notes. It's only the school board, after a school determines that they would like to change the name of the school, they have to write a letter to the school board, and the school board has to tell us whether or not we can move forward with the process. We actually have to determine whether or not the school can change their name. And so one is that the superintendent or designee has to bring it forward. The second part is that the principal of the campus, myself, would bring it forward, or a school campus can make a recommendation to the board for a name change based on that campus advisory council. So it can be any of those 3 methods. But we also have to see if the school's even eligible to have a name. So the school name has to be over 50 years old, and you have to present information to the board as far as the reasons why you want the school to consider changing the name. Then once all that happens, it goes through a pretty lengthy process after the school board approves the school to consider a name change. Then we have to go through another pretty lengthy process to get down to what the new name's going to be.
What's the general cost for the name change?
You know, we were talking about that. We were looking at it. It was estimated to be probably about, I think they were saying like $780,000 to do it, because I'd have to go back and look at my notes. So just kind of ballpark, because what happens is that anything that has O. Henry Middle School name on it, if we were to change it, all that would have to be changed. So that would be front signs, stationery, all of the jerseys for the school. You know, it's a lot for a high school to do it because they have a lot more things, but think anything that has the name of the school on it. So think of all the things that we have. We have t-shirts, we have band uniforms, we have choir, orchestra, sports teams, all of that. Anything that says O. Henry would have to be changed. So I think one of the estimates we saw when one school did it was like $780,000 to make that change.
If the campus advisory committee voted to change the name, what would the next steps be?
The next steps would be to solicit names of possible school names, and there is actually then a criteria that we have to follow that talks about how the new name can be inspirational and visionary, and a lot of times they look at to see what the new name would be, either defining an area of town or perhaps another person that did significant work in the community. So that would be one of the things that we would do. I know the person that presented the information to us, who had gone through it at another school, said they initially had like over 500 weird and different kinds of names. And then eventually they narrowed it down to 3 people, 3 different types of names, and voted on it and decided what the name was going to be.
Do you think O. Henry's name should be changed?
And now for the weather.
Good morning, O. Henry, and happy last day to Thanksgiving break. And for today, we are going to see a high of 68 and a low of 49. And just to know, on Friday, which is today, we had a lunar eclipse last night, and a partial lunar eclipse, which covered half the moon, which was pretty cool. But for the rest of the week, we have Saturday and Sunday, which will be in about the 70s to high 60s, maybe. We will have another cold front come in, which will make usually just more wind, not a big rainmaker. But for Thanksgiving break, we have highs in about the mid to low 70s and some upper 60s in there. And sadly to know, it might rain on Thanksgiving with about a 50 to 40% chance of rain on Thanksgiving. But I like weather.
For the Mustang Challenge,
we asked O. Henry students what their favorite food is at Thanksgiving.
Turkey.
Definitely stuffing.
I think I like ham better than turkey.
Probably pumpkin pie or pecan pie.
Turkey. My favorite Thanksgiving food is pumpkin pie and green bean casserole.
Pumpkin pie.
My favorite Thanksgiving food is deviled eggs.
My favorite Thanksgiving food is turkey and dressing.
Pumpkin pie.
It's probably mashed potatoes or the cranberry sauce.
My favorite Thanksgiving food is apple pie.
I have to say cherry pie.
My favorite Thanksgiving food is cranberry sauce and mashed potatoes.
I like the rolls and the stuffing, and that canned cranberry sauce is like Jello kind of.
Mashed potatoes.
I want me and food.
My favorite Thanksgiving food is stuffing.
It's pecan pie with whipped cream on it.
My favorite Thanksgiving food is turkey, ham, cake, and more other stuff, but mostly turkey and ham. And cake. Ham. Mashed potatoes. Turkey.
I think mashed potatoes.
Make it a great day in the O. Henry Mustang.